Hey guys, what is up? It's the Star Wars nerd here. Today I'll be bringing you my rankings of all 9 films in the Skywalker Saga. So, here we go. And of course, coming in at number 9, we have The Last Jedi. Where do I even start with The Last Jedi? This movie is not good. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I respect people who like the movie. I respect their opinions, but either way you look at it, it's just not a good movie. Um, Ryan Johnson handled the plot and the characters in this movie very strangely. He made some, in my opinion, very bad character choices, especially with Luke Skywalker. And he took the plot and direction of the movie in ways that no one expected, trying to subvert expectations, which he did, but not in a good way. And he also broke canon. I don't know how Disney's going to end up fixing that, because they're going to have to go back and rewrite a bunch of stuff, or maybe just say it's not canon from the movie. I don't know how they're going to fix it. But when the purple-haired lady, I don't remember her name, when she flew her ship into the First Order ships using hyperspeed, first of all, I don't know who told Ryan Johnson how hyperspeed works, but that is not how it works. When you enter hyperspeed in the Star Wars universe, you have to enter a wormhole. And that's how it works. You enter a wormhole, and like you see in the original movies, when you see Han Solo entering in coordinates, he can't just go super fast, try to get away from everything. You gotta make sure it doesn't run into asteroids and stars and stuff like that. It's not just going super fast. So you enter the wormhole, and then once you get out, you're at the other side of the universe or wherever you want to be. So I don't know who told Ryan Johnson how hyperspeed works, but they were very wrong. I don't know who at the front office of Disney just watched that scene and was like, huh, that really works that way. So yeah, that bugged me. And another thing in this movie that really it wasn't right was the decision making Ryan Johnson made with Luke Skywalker's character. That was not Luke Skywalker in this movie, and even Mark Hamill knows that, and he spoke out about it until he was silenced by Disney. But that's not his character. I don't want to go super in depth with this because I don't want to make this whole Last Jedi rant. But Luke would not attack Kylo when he saw him darken him. That's just not Luke's character. We see that in Return of the Jedi. He knew that his father was evil, but he stuck with him, and he would not let himself give in to his anger, and he turned his father good again. So I don't see Luke as a character trying to kill Kylo at the first sign of him turning to the dark side. I just can't see it. And that's all I really have to say about this movie before it turns into a rant. So yeah, Last Jedi coming in at number 9. And coming in at number 8, we have The Rise of Skywalker. I think my main problem with this movie was just I felt that there was a lack of direction and planning with these movies, and that was what really was a downfall of this movie, per se. Another thing that I didn't really particularly enjoy in this movie was the kiss at the end with Kylo and Rey. It didn't make much sense to me. They've been fighting for 3 movies, and I really felt the connection more between Rey and Finn, and I really thought they were going to be going there, especially with the one scene when they were sinking in the quicksand, and Finn said, "I have to tell you something, Rey." I really felt like that was not the right choice. I understand there's a lot of, Reylo people out there that really ship the Kylo and Rey connection that was built on in The Last Jedi, but it felt very weird. I was kind of taken aback when I saw it in theaters, and I wasn't a big fan of that choice. So, and another thing that I did not like them doing in the movie was when Rey at the end called herself a Skywalker. I know she trained underneath Leia, but that does not make her a Skywalker. They could have done so many more things with that. I think she could have rebranded the Palpatine name. I think that would have been cool to see. I know why Disney decided to go that direction, because they're gonna make more Skywalker Saga movies with her in it. They say they're not. They're definitely going to. So that just bugged me a little bit. I don't know. I thought they could have done that better. And if I really had to say something positive about this film, I would say that it is very visually appealing. They make some good choices with the cinematography. And it's a very beautiful movie to watch. It's very stunning. But other than that, this movie falls at number 8. And coming in at number 7, we have Attack of the Clones. While this film does get a lot of hate, I do actually enjoy watching this film from time to time. I really do enjoy the fight scenes in this movie. The choreography is stunning, some of the best in the entire saga. Um, and I think that, you know, also the clone scene when Obi-Wan was on Kamino is absolutely chilling when all the clones come out. That is by far one of the best scenes in the entire movie. I think another thing this film does well is it grows the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan in a way that we really feel like they are brothers. Now, I will say the Clone Wars does a better job at this than Attack of the Clones, given that it has more time. I do think for what Attack of the Clones is, it does a good job at the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and really making it so you feel for Obi-Wan whenever he loses Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. I think one of my main problems with this film is just the downright cringy scenes with Anakin and Padme. It just is not fun to watch those scenes, and it really makes you just want to turn the movie off, and it's just not fun to watch them. I know a lot of people will blame Hayden Christensen for his portrayal of Anakin, and that's the reason why those scenes are so cringy, but honestly, when you go back and look at it, that was how George Lucas wanted him to play the character, so you can't really blame Hayden for that. He was just doing what he was told, so if you really look at it from George's point of view, he plays the character great. I think one of the only things I have left to say about this movie is that I really did enjoy the plot. I think it did a good job of driving forward the prequels and, really getting you excited to see the finish in Revenge of the Sith. So, I think this movie served its purpose for what it was. So, not the greatest movie ever, but also not the worst. But Attack of the Clones coming in at number 7. And now coming in at number 6, we have The Force Awakens. Now, when this movie first came out, I liked it a lot, actually. I thought it was a very good start for the new trilogy, and I was very excited to see what was coming next. And now that we have the entire trilogy out, when you go back and look at this movie, it just kind of doesn't fit in anymore. The Last Jedi kind of screwed it up. It kind of took everything that J.J. Abrams has set up and just said, you know what, we're going to go our own way, and we're not going to listen to what you had set up in the first movie. And that just kind of takes away from The Force Awakens and now makes it a movie that just doesn't really need to be there anymore. It's like The Last Jedi set up its own movie and it just doesn't fit in anymore. Another one of the main criticisms I see about this movie from other people is that they think that the plot is too similar to A New Hope's. I do understand why people think it's a ripoff of A New Hope. I see that and I see the similarities between it. But the way I look at it is that Disney had to be kind of cautious when they were making this movie because, Star Wars is a huge franchise, and if they had messed it up off the bat, no one would have come to see any more of the movies. And I think being more conservative with the first movie was probably the right move. But the thing was, it was conservative, but also set up ways that the second movie could have been great. And that wasn't the case, though. But other than that, I did like this movie when it came out. I've watched it more than a couple times. It hasn't aged well with the new movies, but as a standalone film, it is a good movie. So, The Force Awakens, number 6. And coming in at number 5, we have The Phantom Menace. Now, the sole reason that I put The Phantom Menace above The Force Awakens is because of the Darth Maul scene at the end. That scene just makes this movie 100% better, and is really the only reason I watched the entire movie. That fight scene mixed with John Williams' Duel of the Fates music in the background is a cinematic masterpiece, and it is just so amazing to watch. But other than that scene, this movie is not great. It does do a good job of showing off the new worlds that George Lucas had created back when this movie came out, but other than that, this movie doesn't have a whole lot of bright spots. Most of the acting, especially from Jake Lloyd as little Anakin Skywalker, was just not the greatest, and same with Jar Jar Binks. He was not the greatest in this movie, and he never really came back from that. I know he took a back seat in the rest of the movies, rightfully so, but he just kind of, as a comedic relief in the movie, he was not great. One other thing I do enjoy about this movie is the fact that it has a lot of practical effects in it, and is not as bogged down like Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith is with all the special effects that George Lucas put in. This movie really felt like it was coming off of the original trilogy, and I did enjoy that about the movie. But other than that, this movie was just kind of bland. Didn't have a whole lot there. I did put it above The Force Awakens just solely because of the mall scene in the end. But yeah, I'm going to be putting Phantom Menace at number 5. And now, coming in at number 4, we have Return of the Jedi. This is a very enjoyable movie, and even to this day, I still love watching it. But overall, I think this movie is really good. It shows you the definitive Luke Skywalker. Whenever you think of Luke Skywalker, this is the Luke Skywalker I think of. I really like the arc Anakin Skywalker has in this movie. I know obviously the prequels hadn't come out yet when this movie was put in the theaters, but if you really go back and watch it, how George Lucas would have wanted people to watch it, Anakin's arc is finished in this movie, and it's just awesome to see. And I know a lot of people have problems with Ewoks, and they are, these cute little teddy bears that people don't think should be a part of Star Wars because, Star Wars is this big galactic war, and they don't think little teddy bears should be in it. But when I really think about it, when I think of Ewoks, it's Star Wars. I think that's the way George Lucas wanted it. Obviously, it does help that they sell well in the toy store, but I like Ewoks. I think they are fun. I think it was a cool way to add life to this Endor planet that he created. I also really liked the speeder chase in Endor. That was awesome. It was something that was new to its time as well. And the fight scenes between Luke and Vader and the Emperor at the very end were phenomenal. I mean, the clash of color between the green and the red in the throne room was just stunning to see. And I really liked how Vader turned against the Emperor at the very end and threw him down the pit. And I mean, say what you want about them making a second Death Star. It's not the most original idea, I understand that, but it worked well at the end of the day. And another thing this film did well was bringing in Jabba the Hutt into all of this. That was a great way to bring him into the galaxy, and he's iconic. I mean, what else can I say? It's Jabba the freaking Hutt. But they did make a bad choice with killing off Boba Fett that easily. I don't understand what their thought process was when they were making that scene, but I definitely don't think Boba Fett should have gone out that easily, if he should have gone out at all. But, they make their choices, so we have to live with what they made. But overall, I really enjoy this film, and for that reason, Return of the Jedi is number 4. And coming up next at number 3, we have Revenge of the Sith. Now, I think people can agree that Revenge of the Sith is definitely one of the better Star Wars films, and definitely the best prequel trilogy film. And I think one of the main things that makes this movie shine is Hayden Christensen's portrayal of Anakin turning to the dark side. It's just haunting, and you can really feel for Obi-Wan and Padme as they see him go further and further into anger and just darkness. I think this movie has the best fight scene out of all the Star Wars films combined, with the duel on Mustafar between Anakin and Obi-Wan. The choreography is just outstanding, and the emotions, you can just really feel them in the battle. And I know there's a lot of memes about Revenge of the Sith and, hello there, and you were the chosen one, Anakin, but I really think that it just makes the movie more iconic in ways. And I think another thing this film does well is it takes the clunky relationship between Padme and Anakin that we saw in Attack of the Clones and really makes it less cringy, so that in the end we actually feel for Padme whenever she loses Anakin, and for Anakin when he loses Padme. Another thing this movie did well was blending in the prequels into the original trilogy, making sure they meshed well at the very end, bringing Darth Vader and having Padme have Luke and Leia. And that was just some awesome scenes, especially, I'm an original trilogy fan, so it was cool to see how it was going to fade into the original trilogy. Another part of this movie that I really enjoyed was the Order 66 scenes. It just showed how the galaxy was falling even farther into darkness under the Empire, and how that would affect the original trilogy, and that was very well put together. All in all, this movie is just great. All the actors do a phenomenal job, especially Ewan McGregor. I'm glad he's getting his own show on Disney Plus soon. I cannot wait to watch that. But yeah, this movie is definitely the best of all the prequels, and is really up there between all the Star Wars films. So Revenge of the Sith is number 3. And coming in at number 2, we have A New Hope. Now, this movie is essential because this is where Star Wars came from. And I think that's the main thing that makes this movie so great, is that it creates this world that we've never seen before, and it expands on it, and it's just amazing. It's not the most beautiful movie ever, I will give you guys that, but it's just, the story is phenomenal. I mean, it's not too complex, but it's also not overly simplified. It's just a nice story, and it has great characters, and I feel like that is why this movie is been so relevant for so many years now. I mean, this movie came out in 1977, and we are still talking about it in 2020. I mean, if you think about that, that is insane. This movie also basically created pop culture, and it's also expanded the film industry in ways that no one would have ever imagined back in 1977. And that's why I think this movie is so special, because it was just so out of the ordinary back when it came out, and that's why people loved it so much, because they'd never seen anything like this before. It was too much for their minds to handle. And this film also made the stars of this film rock stars. I mean, it was unheard of for a film to be that popular and have the characters be that iconic that everyone in the entire world, if you go into anyone's house in the entire world and be like, hey, do you know who Luke Skywalker is? Do you know who Han Solo is? Do you know who Princess Leia is? I mean, they'll immediately know, and that was just unheard of back then, and it's just crazy to look back at and see how much of an impact Star Wars made with this one film. And yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite films ever, and for that reason, it goes to number 2, so A New Hope, number 2. And the number 1 movie on my list is The Empire Strikes Back. Now, if I had to use one word to sum up this entire movie, I think it'd probably be iconic. This movie brings in so many new lines and so many new characters that just become so iconic over the years that it's hard to put this movie at number 1 because it's just so great in so many ways. And the fact that this movie can bring in so many new characters but still stay true to the old characters is just something that you just don't see a lot nowadays. And this movie also brought in a much more darker tone, which was new to Star Wars at the time. And I think it worked out well for the film. And it's also the first film where you see the heroes lose for the first time, with Han being put in carbonite and taken to Jabba the Hutt, and Luke getting his hand chopped off and losing to Vader, and finding out that he was his father, which, again, one of the most iconic scenes in movie history. One of the best things about this movie is that it dives deeper into who the Jedi are and how they train and what the Force is, because that was not explored very much in the first movie, that being A New Hope, and I think it was just cool to see that elaborated on in this film, especially bringing in Yoda, and that was just very cool to see the Grand Master Yoda. I mean, obviously we didn't know he was this high and mighty Jedi Master at the time because the prequels hadn't come out yet, but it was just cool to see Luke be trained as a real Jedi and see what it means to actually be a Jedi and what you had to go through to be a Jedi. This movie also did a great job at expanding the Star Wars universe, so, bringing Dagobah, Bespin, Hoth, just to name a few, but, it did a great job at just expanding the universe and bringing us more of what we wanted. If I had to sum this movie up, again, I would say it's iconic. I mean, there's no way I can't put it at number 1 because it's just so iconic. It's what you think of when you think of Star Wars. It's just this amazing movie that expanded a universe that we already loved and made it even better than we even ever could have thought. And so for that reason, I have Empire Strikes Back at number 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button. Maybe subscribe to me if you want to see some more. And if you want me to go more in depth on any of the movies here, then let me know in the comments down below. And thank you again for watching, and have a good day.